You know who you are and who he was? Who he is? Who he was, who he is? And there is no difference between these two verbs, was and is. They're all together. Come on, I'll tell you a story. Says the goddess of wisdom to this queen. There was a couple, Brahmin couple, not king, just a priest and his wife. They were living on top of a hill. And they were also very fond of each other. They were both living there. And a very austere, ascetic life. One day this old man, this priest, watched a royal procession. He was passing near that hill and he looked at all this paraphernalia, all this regalia. And there is just a tinge of envy in his heart. Though I am such an enlightened person, look at the way these stupid people enjoy themselves. There's just a tinge of envy. Very soon, they drop dead. The body was gone, and in the same place, he became a king, and his wife became you. Not queen, you. You are that that dream object. You are the dream object of that couple, that royal couple, that priestly couple. And you are all in the same place, exactly the same place. Nothing goes, nothing comes. What is reincarnation? Wherever you are, wherever the body drops, there itself the whole universe is created. The universe, which is fashioned on the basis of your thoughts, your notions, your desires, your cravings, and the results of all your activities during the whole life. That residue is there. That is what they call the ethereal body. And this ethereal body is not a huge thing. It's subatomic in size. In that subatomic sized ethereal body, the entire universe is contained. This, I believe, according to modern science, is called the holographic view of the universe. That's fantastic. That every part, every atom contains a picture of the entire universe. You can very easily understand this, huh? Very easily understand this. Now, what are genes? Not these, Levi's genes. You cannot even see the thing with naked eye, and yet the whole structure is coded and stored in it. The structure of the whole body, not only as it was then, but as it is going to be 50, 60 years later. My God, how is that possible? If that thing was not there in the gene already, your face would not be of this shape. It's fantastic, isn't it? Just this minute, microscopic thing, gene, that contains the entire picture of the whole being as it would take shape in the womb And as it would grow into much later, 50, 60 years, 80 years later, and now they even are beginning to say, the scientists, that our the major events in our lives, like the lifespan, how long we are going to live, what major illnesses we are going to suffer, all these things are also determined by the genes. That's what these people have been saying for long centuries. Karma, they said. They used to one word and you use another word. What is the difference? Only the spelling. Gene, G-E-N-E, karma, K-A-R-M-A. The stuff is the same, exactly the same. So, when the couple died, then, and there itself, the entire universe, the entire empire of this emperor was born, and that itself believed within itself, I am a king and she is my queen, these are my subjects, this is my empire. In this dream. And in that dream itself it says, I am born, I am growing up, now I am growing old. And now I am dead. And this girl, the queen, also undergoes all this. I am born, I am married to this emperor, I am growing up, I am so and so, he is charming and I am so and so, I love him and so on. And then she thinks that I am still seeing him, that he is somewhere here. But because of the grace of the Goddess of Wisdom, she is able to enter into another state of consciousness. Another plane of consciousness, another dimension of consciousness. Saraswati explains, or the Goddess of Wisdom explains to this girl, to this queen, that what exists is just one infinite consciousness, unlimited. You can call it God, no problem. Economy in words. Instead of infinite consciousness, 2 words and long words, you can abbreviate it into G-O-D, God. Only this infinite consciousness or God exists. And there is one advantage in using the words infinite consciousness, and that is that consciousness being consciousness does not lose consciousness. And therefore, this consciousness is capable of sparkling, vibrating. And the vibration becomes thought. What is the content of your thought? Nothing but consciousness, pure consciousness. And again, that thought is indestructible. Not as thought, but as its fundamental nature, essence. A wave comes to an end, but water doesn't come to an end. And therefore the ocean is still exactly as it was. The form of the wave collapses, but water is still water. It doesn't change its nature. The infinite consciousness alone sparkles, vibrates as these millions of thoughts, and the thought later crystallizes into pada, into a word, let's say. Put it simply. The thought crystallizes into a word, an image conjured up in the mind. Now you have to be extremely careful. Now, very attentively careful. A thought comes up and it crystallizes into an image, and this thought becomes aware of something This thought becomes aware of something. That something was nothing but God's creation, if you want to call it that way, or accidental coincidence of atoms, accidental conjunction of atoms, material particles in the universe, in what is called physical space. And this thought superimposes that image upon that object. So, the girl becomes a daughter, the girl becomes a sister, the girl becomes a girlfriend, the girl becomes a mother, the girl becomes something else, a teacher. The girl as a girl was created by not you, not even the parents. The girl as a girl was not created by you. But you look at her and say, she's my yoga teacher. I look around, there is no yoga teacher anywhere here. So, an object is called padartha in Sanskrit. And it's very, very beautiful if you understand the meaning, significance of it. An object is padartha, composed of two words. Pada means word, artha means meaning. What is an object? Object is nothing but the meaning of a word. You use a word and you look at something and, that's a blanket. What is a blanket? That's a blanket. Why is it so? Because I call it so. So, that being which is full of all these experiences gathered and assembled, accumulated in consciousness. All experiences are experienced by consciousness and stored in that infra microscopic thing called the gene. Imagines that this is my world within itself, in the same space, around itself, within itself, the same space, and experiences this as his world. And so says the goddess of wisdom, that couple, priest couple, became you, enjoying all this. Naturally, your husband died again, second dream over. Dream number 2 is over. But you are awake. He was not awake. And so you are able to see the transition from this dream to the next dream. She says, where is my husband? I will show you. I will show you. Come on, let's go. Get into meditation. Now this time it is not death, but it is meditation. Correct? Go into meditation and enter into that state of consciousness which is beyond the mind. In the mind are your tendencies, your cravings, your vasanas, your psychological predispositions, your psychological images, your psychological conditioning. Go one step beyond that and you will find this pure consciousness. And I will take you by the hand from there to where your husband is. And she enters into meditation. As she enters into meditation, it's very much like sleep. It's very much like death. What is the difference? There is no difference. Except that in one is supposed to be continually conscious, and in the other, one is trapped by one's thoughts, and in the third, one's dreams. All these are exactly the same. And In that consciousness, she sees a king again. A king. And he is ruling over a fantastic kingdom. And she says, there is a queen. If this is my husband, what is she? Nothing but your own reflection, says the goddess of wisdom. This is another intriguing phenomena in this story. And that is it possible for a person to multiply himself? We have heard of yogis multiplying themselves. I don't know. I think it is much simpler than all that stuff. I don't discredit such stories. Yogis can maybe be able to multiply themselves, all that. But why not take a much simpler view? Your own children, aren't they yourself? Some of them even look so much alike. I have a friend in South Africa, Mrs. Makan. I know her fairly well. And one day she had come with her mother. I think I had never seen her mother. And her mother was hidden behind some other people sitting. And so I opened my eyes and looked at Mrs. Makan. And closed my eyes. We were all singing kirtan. And then opened my eyes. This young lady had moved and something had happened. And suddenly I saw, in half an hour that girl has changed into this. Very slightly puffed up face, glasses. I never knew that she was wearing glasses. And a little later, once again I closed my eyes, opened my eyes, she was seen. It was only then I realized that one was the mother and the other was the daughter. So, isn't that your own self? That your own self seems to have a mind of its own and desires and aversions of its own. But then you yourself have these problems. Sometimes you entertain one idea and the next day your ideas change, your desires change, your mentality changes, your behavior changes, your tastes change from day to day. So what? Have you become somebody else? I think these things should be looked at from a very simplistic point of view, better. And then the story goes on and on and on and on, that eventually the goddess of wisdom brings Leela back to where the emperor was lying and says, come on, he will wake up in a moment. Wait. He will wake up in a moment. Resurrection. But what is resurrection? What is in reincarnation? What is all this? Except passing from one dream to another. And we keep moving from one dream to another only because we are still utterly convinced that the object exists as the object, independent of me, but on which I am dependent. There are two important things. This object is real, totally real, absolutely real. And its existence does not depend upon me. That doesn't matter. That's okay. Perfectly all right. But you add one more problem to it. My life is dependent upon that object. My happiness comes from that. My unhappiness comes from that. Everything is related to that. And therefore I am trapped. And therefore I am constantly running after these things. If I realize that in any relationship, The object, whether it is human, subhuman, animate, inanimate, is what it is. But I give it a name and I establish a relationship with it. That is my responsibility. I do not know what it is in reality. I know only what I think it is. When this understanding arises, then one begins to look within, whatever that word may mean, and inquire into the nature of the me, the ego, the self, the subject, which makes the object what it is, or what it appears to be. What it is perhaps is made by God, but what it appears to be to me. And on the understanding of this final truth lies enlightenment. We shall continue next Saturday. Asato ma satkamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Day after tomorrow at 7:30, Swami Venkatesananda